Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome again to another episode of Hands on SAP Dev with me, DJ Q Macro. Oh, I've not turned the Elgato key light on. Wait a minute. Oh my goodness me. Oh, there we go. So I'm so relaxed at the moment this morning because the weather's so nice. The sun is shining. It's been horrible weather here in the northwest of England, in West Lancashire. The past few days, just rainy and windy the whole time, and now it's like really sunny. I'm getting some decent ampage coming into my solar panels, so it's all good. So I'm feeling very nice and off grid and everything. So I was just making the coffee, and in fact I thought I'll have a piece of bread with some peanut butter as a little treat, and I was like, I've got a process. I'm going to turn on the fairy lights behind me. In fact, there's a boat just went past before, so I opened the duck hatch behind me there and said hello. And I've got my key light here, my Elgato key light, which is good. But yeah, I'm sort of, disorganised as usual, but disorganised for good reasons. I think I've just relaxed. So welcome one and all. Welcome to Lawrence and Alex and Visa's early birds. So good morning to Lawrence in Amersfoort in the Netherlands, and Alex says hello. DJ on the decks with his latest single, Bound to an Entity. I like that. Yes. Visa's good morning to you in Bangkok, Thailand, and also Ulrich. I hope you managed to get your coffee and croissant in time for this and everything. I hope you enjoy them. Ajay, good morning to you, friend and colleague over there in India. And Dennis, good morning all. Hello. And that's a little wave, isn't it? That's a 0 and a slash. And Hans Peter, HP Zeitz, ahoy. Ahoy. Nice. I see what you did there. Ahoy in Mannheim, from Mannheim. And Zahid, good morning to you in sunny Solihull. And welcome. Carsten Schlegel, good morning to you in Stuttgart. And Chiara, buongiorno to you in Brescia. Amazing. So, yeah, I've been looking forward to I always look forward to these episodes because it's great to chat with you all. And of course, I know I keep saying, on all the live streams, put something in the chat, put it in the chat, put it in the chat, put your thoughts in the chat. It's because basically I'm talking effectively to the camera, to the wall. And I can see you on the my left hand side here, the chat and everything. So the more chat text appears, the more I feel I'm, in the same room with you, as it were. So, it's great. It's great. So that's why I keep encouraging you to say whatever comes into your mind. I've already drunk half this coffee. It's my second coffee of the day. I wasn't quite early this morning. Anyway, DJ, stop rambling because I've got a lot to get through. Let me switch already to the main scene, and the SAP Developer News is out. By the way, let me just share that thing there. I've already started putting in, I've just done it now, 7:59 AM. A couple of links this week's SAP Developer News. Let me put the link to that thing in there, so everybody's got a meta link, a link to the links, as it were. So SAP Developer News. I record, I think a lot of my colleagues do some awesome Developer News episodes recordings at different locations. Some do walk and talk, some do just outside there where they live or whatever, or something. Oh, scream outside, a little baby screaming, and I thought, I'll sit. So I sat on the towpath. Was it yesterday morning? I sat on the towpath and recorded this thing here with the narrowboat behind me, just give people an idea of what it's like outside out there. That chimney there is a chimney that belongs to an old mill, a flour mill. It was right on the canal. It's in Bursko, and it's now the flour mill has been converted into apartments and everything, but the chimney remains and the pump house remains, from the Industrial Revolution. So that's where I am. And in fact, I thought I'll show you. I took a picture last month, I think it was a couple of months ago, so it's not not recent this week, but I took a picture standing on the other side of the canal to where I am, roughly where that tree is there, and that picture is there. So I was sitting there. So this is when the weather was pretty horrible, but that's where I am. That's where I live, and right now I'm behind those windows, that duck hatch. So that duck hatch is that thing behind me. So I'm broadcasting, coming to you loud and clear from, hopefully loud and clear from there. So that's that. So anyway, check the news out. And one of the news items, buongiorno, Kazatis, buongiorno, once again grabbing a coffee and waiting for Capire, waiting for Capire, exactly. Alexei, hello from Germany in Paderborn, excellent, Paderborn, yeah. Paderborn, I know Paderborn. I used to listen to BFBS radio and I think they broadcast from Paderborn. And good morning to you, Matthias, in Dortmund. Pavel, good morning to you in Poland. Nice to have you here. Anyway, so welcome one and all. Another one of the news items is the fact that the June Developer Challenge from Vitaly is now at an end. You know, there's still time to do the Developer Challenge, although I think Vitaly has sort of summarized the participants and everything. And so we're into July, obviously, and we have a July Developer Challenge for you. And what I thought, I did put a call out on LinkedIn, I think, because anybody think it'd be a good idea to go through this, and other folks have contacted me directly and said, yeah, let's have a look. Let's have a quick look at the new Developer Challenge, because it's all about CAP. And it's all, you know, I designed this, or I put this together. Let me not use the word design. I'll tell you why in a minute. I put this together with folks like you in mind. Good morning to you, Helmut in Brunswick, Braunschweig in Germany, and Swawis. Swawis. Shall I call you Swawis? Is that the right pronunciation? Swawis. Swawis. Good morning to you in Zug. Where is that, in Switzerland? Where is Zug? I should know, really, shouldn't I? Oh my goodness me. Nassim, good morning to you in India. Good afternoon to you in India. I don't know, what time is it? 5.5 hours maybe from the UK. I don't know. So we're going to have a look at this. Okay, let's have a look at this. Spend half an hour on this and then do the rest of it on the where we were. I've got everything. Oh, terminal bash process. Terminal. Okay, I'll kill that. Where we were. I've just committed the stuff there. In last week's episode, we had, I think, yeah, exactly what we just finished implementing total stock, which is an unbound function. And then we defined, right at the end of last week, we defined this stock value, didn't we? Put my head down the bottom. We defined the stock value function as a function, but it's a bound function. And the way we define it as a bound function is we add it as a sort of a block to this actions clause on the end of this entity definition. So this stock value function here is effectively bound to the books entity, and we'll understand a little bit more of what that means and how to resolve in a given call to that function what particular book entity it relates to, right? So we do that. And Robin van Hethoff, good morning to you in the Netherlands, and Zug is near to Zurich in Switzerland. Ah, yes, I thought it was in Switzerland, yes. Thank you very much, Swawis. And good, and have I missed anybody? Ulrich. Oh, Ulrich says as well, Zug is south of Zurich. Excellent, excellent. But shall we put in the chat? What should we do first? Shall we do the total stock first, or shall we have a quick look at the new SAP Developer Challenge, the reverse APIs? And by the way, you folks are the first to see this because I just did it about half an hour ago, I think. I've just published the second task number 1, in this Developer Challenge. Some of you may have not seen this Developer Challenge yet. The whole idea is that it's reverse APIs. The whole idea of this Developer Challenge is sort of like a reflection of the inverse of a Developer Challenge we did last August on APIs, where you had to make calls to API endpoints. And good morning to you, Daniel. I missed the last few sessions. Hope I can still follow. Of course, you can still follow Daniel, and you're always welcome and everything. And we may be talking about this Developer Challenge. So we'd love to get your thoughts and insights on the way we can carry out these tasks here on the Developer Challenge. Actually, the inspiration, the idea for last August's Developer Challenge on APIs came from my son Joseph. We were having a coffee and he said, "Oh, why don't you do this?" I said, "Oh, great idea." And then I was over in Dusseldorf with him after the Code Connect, actually, and we were in this really good, great coffee place called Light Roast in Dusseldorf, and we're having a chat. And he said, "Why don't you do the opposite? Why don't you get folks to create APIs, and you, as the person running the Developer Challenge, you will call them and see if they've implemented the APIs correctly." It's like, what a brilliant idea. So I've actually put down at the bottom here, no, where is it? Put down at the bottom here, the idea for this challenge from my lovely son Joseph. So thank you, Joseph. Anyway, so the idea is, like I just said, you over the course of July are going to have to create three services. Good morning, Antonio. Good morning and welcome. 3 services, and within those 3 services, you're going to have to create a total of 10 endpoints. So in the first service, you're going to create 3 endpoints. In the second service, which is going to be a plain REST service, you're going to create a couple of endpoints, and then you're going to basically also create a North Breeze service, very much like the North Breeze service that we had in August's challenge last year. You're going to implement it, and then you're going to implement various endpoints. Some are just entity projections. Some there's one that is a as select type projection. There's a bound action. There's an unbound action function. There's a bound function. All sorts of different things, and you've got to implement them basically. So that's what this is all about. So nobody's put in the chat yet what we should do first. So while I'm talking about this, I might as well just sort of talk through for the next 10 minutes. I think some folks have already started. So yeah, generally, let's have a look through this. Here we go. Look, here we go. So the whole idea is that there's a tester service in the cloud. So test server. Wow. In fact, let's go here. Let's go to the. It's quite a. Every time I edit this, you get white spaces added, and you can't get rid of them easily. So there we go. Tester service. There we go. There's the tester service. Let me open that in a new tab. And in fact, if I go there, up here on SAP BCP, Cloud Foundry environment, I've got this little CAP server running. And it has a single service tester. And if we look at the metadata of the tester, yes, it's got an entity type and it's got an entity set there, but we're not really interested in that. Let's get rid of the annotations as well. We're not interested in the annotations there. It's basically, some are annotations because of the common CUID and managed aspects that I've used for that particular entity definition, and others are because I've actually made that entity read-only. The key thing is, let me make that bigger. The key thing is it's got an unbound action, and the unbound action is called test server. So the whole idea is that when you follow the instructions, let me put that over there. Yeah, let me put that there, for example, and then just scroll up a bit. There we go. When you put the when you follow the instructions, you'll be creating services, and in those services you'll be creating API endpoints. And the whole idea is then that you say, okay, I'm ready with my API endpoint. I would now like to see if I've implemented it correctly, and therefore I'm going to make a call. Here we go. Let's just make a call. That's going too fast, actually. I tell you what I'll do. I'll show you. Scratch. This is my thing where I create all these stupid things for LinkedIn and everything. But down here, I think I did the. There we go. Yes, there we go. All of that GIF here. Inner workings of DJ's brain. Let me put that on the other side. It's just like an animated GIF of these things here, right? So basically, once you've defined your service here, and you implemented, or you defined an endpoint and you've implemented that endpoint, then you make a request. Let's put that full screen. Then you make a request. Please test this endpoint, and you make a request to the test service, right? Which is a call to this test server action, right? And that test service then makes a call to the endpoint that you've told it about, that you're ready with, and then it will return whether that call has been successful or not. Good morning, Rafał, to you in Poland. So that's that. Okay, so that's what it's all about. Let me move that back across there as well, right? So you've got all the details here. The link is in the link to this blog post is in this week's episode here, and then we've started out the challenge overview, the services. So you're going to be doing an unbound function with no parameters, unbound function with parameters, action with data, bound action. So what we're doing on this back to basics at the moment is exactly sort of in line with, you know, giving you help as to or knowledge about what you're going to have to implement there. So I see a question from Zahid. Is there any sizing guide available to calculate the resources required on BTP for a CAP application? I have a feeling there is a sizing guide. I mean, I would be just Googling it as much as you would be, Zahid. I'm sorry, I've just seen Yavuz's comment there. So I'm not sure. I think there are sizing guides. I would encourage you to let's have a look. Site help.sap.com sizing BTP. Sizing guide. There we go. Sizing guide. So there we go. The power of Google. Let me put that in the in here, just as answer to your edit. There we go. There we go. So to Zahid's question, sizing guide in BTP for BTP. There we go. Look at that. Fantastic. So Yavuz, I hope that answers your question. Go and have a look at that and see what see if that helps, Zahid. Yavuz says, "Good morning from YouTube Mobile. The chat option is not displayed in web app. Weird. When I go on the YouTube mobile on my phone, I can see the chat there. Sometimes I actually watch the chat in this live stream by looking at the YouTube mobile app. So you say web app, so maybe you need to use the actual, you know, the proprietary Android or iOS app rather than the native web thing. So I'm not sure, Yavuz. Sudarshan, good morning to you, Sudarshan and Visas. I still remember that we had lots of fun and learned a lot from the last year's API Developer Challenge. Thank you, Visas. Thank you for remembering and thank you for having fun as well. And let us know. Sadly, I didn't participate in any SAP Developer Challenge this year because I haven't been very busy with the project. That's okay. That's okay. We can't all do everything. We can't all do everything. Ben. In fact, I was thinking, I'll tell you, I was thinking of you yesterday in Tesco, actually. Hello, Pirates. Fantastic. Yes, thank you for remembering the amazing phrase that we came up with last week. So yes, I got some of those lozenges, and I had one today. It was quite good, and yeah, I feel better. Thank you. So Hussein, good morning to you, Hussein. Okay, so that is that, and one of the things that some people stumble on, some beginners stumble on, which is completely understandable, is how to make my CAP service easily available to the interwebs, in the cloud. And so we've got this simple deployment here to BTP, because it's me, I did it as a one-liner, so I think we should just go through this, just so you've got at least a starter to start working on the task that I've just released today. So task 0, if you have a look at task 0 here, let's go to task 0. The whole idea is that you go back to this blog post every day or whatever and say, oh yeah, is there a new task? Yes, oh, there's task 0, there's task 1. I've just added this section and link. And the next task I'm going to publish on Tuesday. But if we go to task 0, this is all about getting a server up and running. Okay, so blah, 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 blah. So it says basically go and follow either the simple deployment to BTP approach or the local deployment plus ngrok tunnel. In fact, here's something I'm going to ask you to put in the chat. We'll do this, but shall we do the local deployment using ngrok, or shall we do the simple deployment to BTP right now on this live stream episode? And we'll do that, and then we'll switch over to continuing to look at the stock value bound function. So let me know. Good morning to you in Slovakia, Slim. Good morning. So yeah, let me know. Put in the chat either simple deployment to BTP or local deployment plus ngrok. Which one shall we do? It's like one of those. Adventure books where, you know, you read it and then you decide where to go next. What are they called? BTP. Alex, simple BTP, but whatever the team prefers. Thank you, Alex, and thank you, Hussein. Okay, Hussein, thank you, Hussein, for making a decision. That's brilliant, and putting it in the chat. That's what we like. So let's do BTP. So Chiara says, can we do local? Tell you what, why don't we do both? Why don't we do both? Yes, why don't we do both? Okay, so the whole idea is that you want to have a basis. Let me go into here. And here we go, let's go. Yeah, okay, let's go into temp. Let's do it in temp. This is actually the repo I'm using for, in fact, I'll show you. This is the repo that's got the candidate that I've written with all 10 API endpoints in all 3 tasks. I've been using containers for this, for testing and everything locally. I've got the tester service, which is the thing that's in the cloud right now that I showed you. And I've also got the tasks, and I edit the tasks in Markdown because Markdown, and it's a lot easier to create than writing it on the thing here. So that's that. But let's go into temp, okay? So the whole idea is that in order to have the tester reach your server and your service implementation, and specifically the given endpoint for the given task in that service implementation, of course, it's got to be on the interwebs. So simple deployment to BTP. So these are just links back to certain sections in the blog post that led us here. Simple deployment to BTP. So that'll take us here. Okay. Now, let's just copy this and run it, and then let's just talk about it before we run it. Okay. So in fact, let's just walk through it here in color so we can see. We don't need that anymore anyway, so we can see what's going on. We're going to do a CDS init. We do CDS init all the time. Initialize a CAP project, and we're going to add the tiny sample just so we've got a tiny bit of data to serve, just to do something, to be able to kick the tires. We're going to give it a name. Now, some folks have used this name. Use your own name. Use your own name. Just make something up. So Q macro, that's me, etc. And then we're going to move into that directory. So we initialize the project, which creates a directory, and then we're going to CD into that directory. That $_, if you're using a proper shell like Bash or Z shell even, I think, that refers to the last argument of the previous command. Okay, so it'll do a CD into Q macro simplest deployment. And and then we're going to do some JQ just to add some CDS configuration to the package JSON. Look, it's package JSON down here. So that we can just deploy it without thinking about productionizing it. We don't need to productionize this CAP server that we're going to be running. It's just a test server that we want to stand up some API endpoints in a service and then have that be tested. And then, tear it down again if we want to. This whole idea is, of course, when you modify a file in Lightning, you modify the file, modify the package JSON and write it to a temporary file, and then if that's successful, then move the temporary file and rename it to package JSON. Basically, it's modifying package JSON sort of in place. The last thing we do before we try to push it to the cloud is to add the SQLite NPM package, because the whole idea is that we don't want to use any persistence layer. We don't want to use a backing service because, we want the simplest thing that could possibly work. And then we're going to push it with CF push. And again, you don't have to use a multi-target application, incantation, MTA.YAML, all that stuff, which is very important when you're doing real life stuff. But this is the simplest thing that could possibly work. So we're just doing a CF push, okay? And all you have to do with a CF push is give it the name that the application should be called on BTP, on Cloud Foundry. And for those, in fact, I've put there, I'm using, by the way, blogging in our new SAP community platform, I like to use sort of monospaced font for things like this, so dollar, open double quotes, dollar brackets, base name, blah, 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 blah. But it doesn't allow you to make it monospaced. So I'm just using what I would do in Markdown, raw Markdown with the backticks. So mentally, when I see the backticks like that, mentally, I see that in monospaced font. So I'm hoping you do too. Put in the chat if that's how also, because, Markdown is very easy to read in raw form. CD there, VI tasks, 01 there. So I'm reading that and, that's just like, fine. There we go, look. Backspace, 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 backspace. These will come out properly formatted when they're properly sort of rendered. like, in fact, like this, I347, da, ba, da. Inner workings again, there, and repositories, where is it? Developer Challenge 2024-07, tasks, there. Now, look how nicely that's rendered there. That's what I want, and that's what I see in my brain. Okay, anyway, right, so let's copy that. We copied that, haven't we? Copy that again, just make sure. There we go. Let's go into temp and let's just run the whole thing. In fact, before we do that, CF, are we logged in? CF applications. Let's just have a look what applications are running. So, by the way, let's just show you what I've got in my BTP trial account right now. Good morning, good evening to you, Andrew Barnard in Melbourne, Australia. Hope you got your glass of wine with you. There's my free tier thing there. Let's have a look. Let's have a look using a GUI because it's Friday, and so we're not doing things properly. So I've got this tester service, which is the actual tester service. I've got a route going to that. There we go. Look at that. There's a route. So we can developer challenge 2024-07. So we can go there. Look, tester service. That goes to the tester service. So that's the thing that's running our thing. That's not very descriptive, DJ. So let's do that. So that's what I've got at the moment. Where are the applications? I've got a developer challenge, Q test, don't know what that is. And there we go. Okay, fine. So I'm already logged in. So I can do a CF push, right? CF push. And what we'll do here, oh no, we don't do that. What's going on? It's pushing nothing. Developer challenge tester. Why is it doing that? Developer challenge tester. Interesting. Why is it picked developer? Oh. Have I got something in there? Okay, so that's, oh, well, anyway, CF push, what I wanted to do is get it to show us the help. Okay, so if we have a look at that, we can see all we need is CF push app name. Okay, that's the name of the app, and that is basically what this thing is doing here. So let's run it and see what happens. In fact, no, let's run it one thing at a time. Let's do it one thing at a time so we can see what's happening step by step. Can you tell I'm making this up as I go along? Okay, so we've initialized a new project. Let's go into that project, Q macro. In fact, we do that, right? $_ go into there, Q macro simplest deployment. And if we have a look at that, we get all the standard stuff we get beautifully given to us for free by the CAP init command. We get app folder, directory, nothing in there. DB, we got a nice little data model with some books, right? Bookshop books. So we got the service just exposing that books thing there. All the normal stuff that we know, right? And we get this package JSON, which is pretty much devoid of any specific CDS configuration, i.e., any configuration in the CDS sort of node here. Node, that's an overloaded word to use. Don't use the word node, DJ, in this context. In the CDS section of this JSON. Okay, so the next thing we do is we'll do this JQ. Let's just do that there. Temp file. By the way, if you're wondering, this backslash here, put in the chat what you think that backslash is actually doing. Okay, what is it actually doing? So let's just copy that and run that. So watch this now. In fact, let's do that. Watch JQ package JSON. Is that? Let's make it a little bit smaller. All right. In fact, watch. Use the control characters. JQ. Sorry. Use the control characters and then say JQ and then spit out the control characters regardless of what context you're running in. There we go. That's better. Got color now. Continue line, exactly, Matthias. It's continue line. But what exactly? This is the nuance I'm looking for. What is the backslash actually doing? It allows us to continue a line, but what does the backslash actually do? Why is it a backslash? Why do we need to use a backslash? Okay, there's nothing to do with CAP or anything. It's just I think it's interesting. So let's do that. Bang, and then say move temp file. Package JSON, bang, there, that's it, that's what we get. So we basically add these things. We add CDS features in memory DB, so it will force the CAP server to continue using the : memory : SQLite thing here in the credentials. And we also add in the requires DB kind, SQLite, credentials, database, memory, and it also adds the auth mocked to say basically we just want to have this mocked explicitly, asking for mocked. Okay, so that's all we need, and then we can push this. And because when you do a CF push in a node context, right? Andrew, well done, Andrew. Andrew is on it like a carp on it, as usual. Andrew says / so that the CR or LF, nicely on the fence there, brilliant, is ignored. Exactly, it actually escapes the new line. Okay, so in a proper shell, the new line character is a new line, not CRLF. It's a long history of why it's CRLF in Windows. It was CR on one type of system, it was LF on another, Windows CRLF. Anyway, it's an amazing story. If you're a boring nerd like me, read it, find out. But basically, it escapes, a / escapes things in Bash and in various other shells. So it escapes the new line, which is the next character. Okay? Anyway, a story for another time, exactly. So now, if we do what's the next thing we do? This is actually taking longer than I expected. There, npm add. There we go. Npm add. Because we'll just add SQLite as well. Okay. So Visa says for anyone who has legacy P account before we have the universal ID, I found that recently I had to change the legacy password to do the same as the universal ID. Yes, exactly. The universal ID has tripped me up quite a bit as well. So that's a good tip there from Visas. Yes, you have to change the password for some legacy Cloud Foundry accounts or accounts on BTP in general. Exactly. Well done, Visas. So now we've got everything. We can actually do a CDS watch, right? Let's just do a CDS watch. I don't think I'm not running anything else on 4004. There we go. There, 4004, and we get that. In fact, we go there, and it's actually for container reasons, I'm mapping 4004 to 4444 because this is all running inside a container, right? So that's what we've got. Now all we're going to do is this thing here, right? CF push. In fact, let's do this first, right? What is that? Echo that. Okay, that's the same as saying, base name pwd. $pwd is an environment variable. Sorry, $d echo. Echo pwd is an environment variable that's available to you, and it has as its value the name of the current working directory, right? In fact, I did. pwd. Yes, there we go. The myriad meanings of pwd in Unix systems. I did like this long, boring, well, it wasn't boring to me, investigation as to what pwd actually means, stands for. What do you think the P in $pwd stands for? I'll put that in the thing, because if you're bored and you can't get to sleep, you can read that, because I think it's quite interesting. What's it called? The myriad meanings of pwd in Unix systems. DJ, what are you doing? Get on with it. Okay, there. Post. Okay, so we can just say there, CF push. So the PW is that. If we say, if we take the base name, right, base name -- help, that will give us basically the name with any leading directory components removed. So the base name of $pwd is just the last bit, this bit. Okay, so that could be the name of our app, right? So we say CF push. Where did I put it there? CF push. There. Okay, so let's push that. Okay, so print working directory. Exactly. Okay, so let's push this. Oh, where are we? There we go. Push that. Now, while we're waiting, let's also do this one, because Kiara was saying let's do the local. Okay, so for those of you who are not aware, there's an amazing tool that I've been using for years called ngrok, your app's front door. Okay, so ngrok, you have to sign up, but it's free. Okay, and you get like a an authentication token. Let me log in to see what's going on. Why am I not logged in before? I don't know. Come on. And while we're waiting here, let's say ngrok. So we've got this, so we can create tunnels. Okay, we can say create a tunnel to the interwebs and expose or provision through that tunnel with the HTTP protocol port 80, for example. So you can expose a local web server, for example, and that's what we're going to be doing. So HP Site says, why is CAP.js SQLite still only a dev dependency? That's a good question, actually. Where are we on here? Where are we? To there. Let's have a look. Package JSON, edit, dev dependency SQLite. That's a good question. Maybe I should have done CAP.js SQLite. I'll change that, HP. I'll change that. Yes, brilliant. Thank you for pointing that out. Yes, definitely. Okay, so where are we here? So I'm logged in. I've got my thing here. Enric. So it needs an auth token. I've already got the auth token, I think. So I can now say, okay, it's running. Okay, it's running. Okay, we'll do that now. So now we can go here. Q macro, simplest deployment, CF apps. And it's available. Okay, is it going to be available to you as well? Let's try. Let's see if we can put that in there. HTTPS. Try that. See if we can see it. Okay. Now, at the same time, we'll also. Okay, let's just do that there. Let's get rid of. Yeah, there we go. CDS watch. So we'll run that locally as well. Okay, so we've got that running here on localhost 4444. Ignore the fact that it's 4444, it's 4004. Fantastic, thank you for confirming, Kazatis. It works. So that means the tester will also be able to reach it. Okay, so we'll actually do that in a minute. So simplest deployment, there we go. So it's also available there. But now going to Kiara's request, which is a great request, to go over here and say ngrok. I've already auth config. I've put my auth token in there already, so I can say ngrok start an HTTP tunnel on exposing locally 4004 and expose it on the internet. So there we go. There. Now look how easy that was. So also, let me put my head. Oh, it is at the bottom. Look how easy. So we can now go here and get to the same place. You try that as well. Let me put that in there. Let me put that in there. Try that, and that should be exactly the same. The only difference is, of course, is if you hit the ngrok tunnel provisioned URL, you are coming down to this local container. In fact, somebody make a call. Oh, somebody's gone to the Fury thing. You can see here. Look at that. That's you lot here. Let me put my head at the top again. That's you lot here actually making calls. Fury preview. You all like Fury previews, don't you? You're really hammering my little container right now. Look at that. Yeah. So those are two. Look at that. Post, read books, count, etc., etc. So people are making my MacBook Air go a little bit warm because you're doing all these requests here. Fantastic, amazing. Okay, so you can see you're calling the thing. You're making the calls to the ngrok exposed tunnel to 4004, which is this localhost server here on CDS Watch, and you can see the calls coming in. Alex, denial of service attack. Okay, anyway, yeah. So let's do so that there we go. You can see that. That's fine. So why do you need this? Why do you need something like this? Because let's just kill that ngrok, and also just kill that one as well. Why do we need that? Because then you can start. What time is it? 8:39. You can start implementing. Then you have everything you need basically to start implementing your first service and first endpoint. So this task 1 was only published this morning. Kasiri, good morning. Sorry, Casey, good morning. Casey, is it Casey or Casey? Casey, I'll say Casey. Good morning to you and welcome. And thank you for making comments. Brilliant. So this task came out this morning. I published it at 6:57, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, an hour and a half ago. Yep. And this basically is you're going to need to create a very simple ping service. Okay. Now, oh, there's a boat going past. A very simple ping service, and the description here is that you have to implement a ping service as an unbound function in a service, as an unbound function, an API endpoint that's defined as an unbound function. You've got to have a little bit of JavaScript to implement that, and it's got to return a static value pong. Okay, and that's it. And then once you've done that, and we'll do that now because why not? Let's pretend let's pretend here CDS watch. In fact, no, let's not do CDS watch because we've got that here, haven't we? We've got this one, not localhost, that one. So let's say we had, let's say we thought we'd implemented the ping service for our first task number 1. Okay, creating your first service. Ping, you want to do a ping service, right? And the ping service has got to have a a metadata that looks like that. There we go. Look, entity container name, entity container function import ping, right? Ping is bound false, unbound function called ping, right? And it should return a string. Okay, that's simple. But there's a lot of thinking about this. So this is why I'm keeping this first one simple. Let's say here, I thought, oh yeah, I've got my ping ready. Of course, there is no ping in this metadata at all. But let's just see what happens. So I would say, and this is also in this description here, in this thing here, submitting your API endpoint to the tester. You've got everything described. So what I'll do is I'll say, in fact, I've got a curl example here. There we go, look at that. Let's do that. And then say let's edit it in there, right? So you send a request, Q macro, service URL. What's the service URL? That thing there. And the service URL, right? It's not the server URL, it's the service URL. So it's a catalog. So that's the service URL, right? In the description here, it says you need to create a service name basic. Okay, so we don't want it /odata v4 basic, we want it /basic. But anyway, okay, so let's put /basic in there, right? So let's do that and say let's say, oh yeah, there we go, and it's /basic. Okay, and the task is, it says it here somewhere, basic ping. Yeah, the task identifier you need to supply in the payload of your submission is basic ping, right? That basic ping. And then you send the content type header because of course you're supplying JSON, and then you send it to that. Okay, are you ready? Are we ready? Okay, let's add a verbose flag as well to see what's going on. Okay, so this will fail. Okay, because there isn't. If we go there, actually go there in the browser, cannot get /basic. We haven't implemented a service at /basic yet. Okay, but let's do that. Let's run that. Bang. And what you get in response is error, code 500, message, error calling service endpoint. Okay, so you get an error, which is fine. Okay, and in fact, CDS logs, CDS, what's it called? CDS applications. I can show you the, oh, sorry, CF applications. I can show you behind the scenes. Here, so CF logs, recent tester served. So we should be able to see the log of that. There we go, look at that. There's the log of the thing. Here we go. 24, 05, 0743. It's 0843 right now. It was 08. This is UTC. Blah, blah, blah. In fact, if we have a look here, what do we call it? What was the thing? Oh, Q macro simplest, right? Let's look for this. Simplest deployment in the log. There it is, look. Get URL, method get URL, simplest deployment, /basic. So there's our call. So that's what you need to do. Basically, you need to do that, but obviously when you need to do that, you also need to implement, well, define first of all, where does it say here? Define first of all, see, this is why I don't like this rendering, because let's just look at it in the tasks 01. There we go. There, that's better. This is where you need to define in, where is it? In a file called maybe basic.cds and have an implementation in basic.js for your implementation, your ping function that returns pong. Okay, Does that make sense? Put in the chat whether that makes sense or not. Let me know. Okay, 8:45. Let's spend the last 15 minutes just switching brains for a second. Put in the chat whether that makes sense. Put in the chat whether you're going to start this developer challenge, whether you think it's okay, if you've got any questions, and then we'll carry on. What's going on? Yes, there we go, fine. Okay, so let's now go and switch for a second. Let's give ourselves a few seconds pause, switch our brains over to just carrying on with this thing. Okay. Yeah, put in the chat if you're going to be doing this developer challenge. I think I'm hoping some of you will be doing the developer challenge. And if not, why not? Is there any reason why you don't want to do it? Is it not very good? If you don't like it, let me know as well. I'm always looking to learn. Okay. So, where are we? Okay, let's move to this. Function stock value. This stock value, as we've said, is a bound function. Andrew Barnard says, it reminds me of your CAP header response investigation of a few weeks back. Oh, yeah. I've got vague memories of that. My memory is not what it used to be. But I'm sure we had fun digging into things, because it's always interesting to find out what, why, when, who, where, what is going on here type thing. So Matthias says, I hope I found the time. Thank you, Matthias. And AP in Dusseldorf says, yes, definitely interesting. Brilliant. Thank you. Okay. Now, in order to, one of the interesting things about, let's just start this running. CDS watch. We don't need that there. In order to fulfill or implement the handler for this stock value bound function and fulfill requests, i.e. by providing responses to this bound function, what do we need that we didn't need when we were doing the total stock unbound function? The unbound, let's do it now. Let's do that and say curl local host 4004, what is it? OData v4 bookshop total stock. Let's put that in. Okay, we get 147. And the actual implementation of total stock, which is this thing here, is super simple. Where's my head? Put it on there. Super simple, right? We just go, right, I don't care what parameters, sorry, use the right term, DJ. I don't care what arguments are sent to me, to this anonymous function, which I've defined here as the handler, the callback for the total stock event. I'm just going to go ahead and just do select one from books, column sum stock as total. Bang, and spit out the result, which is 147. What do we need when we start to think about, which is now implementing this stock value? What do we need that we've not had to have here? Put in the chat what you think it is. So Yavos says, can we somehow call the system command function ping? Simple answer, no. This is not that sort of ping. I mean, I don't think I've even got ping in my ping. Ping localhost. There we go. That ping there. Oh, look at that. It's using IPv6. That's quite cool. Ping qmacro.org. My ping times are pretty bad here actually, but 30 milliseconds. That's fine. So basically, you can see where my weblog is hosted. GitHub. Static pages. There we go. Excellent. I mean, it's a similar sort of thing, as in, send a little boing and get a boing back. That's the idea. But of course, to implement it, you need to implement it in Node.js as an implementation to a definition of a bound function, an unbound function in CDS, in CDL, right? So, Kiara, is that okay, Yavuz? I hope that explains gives you an answer there. Kiara says, I tried to find some time. Well done, Kiara. Kazatis, family out all alone during the weekend. I'll sure dive into it. Good work, Kazatis. Ideal time. Visa says, definitely we are here to learn things. That is the attitude I love. Thank you, Visas. Yes, Alex, pass the bound entity as an argument. Fantastic, Alex. So thank you for diving in with a response there to the question, which is a great response. Pass the bound entity as an argument. Exactly. That's what we need here. So why don't we first of all, I'll tell you what, no, let's do this, but let's get rid of that. Let's do what we should do really, which is to RTFM, first of all, CAP. Let's go to the CAPira documentation and cookbook, providing services. There, actions and functions. I knew I'd seen this, right? Cookbook, providing services, actions and functions. Let's just save that in the thing here, because I think that, let me just double check. In addition to concurrent actions and functions, bound, unbound, blah. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Let's add this one. This is probably the most important URL you'll have in this list today. Providing services, CAPira cookbook, providing services, actions and functions. There, let's have that. Okay, now, where was it? Where's it gone? Oh, there. So, you can define actions and functions in CDS models like this. Service SU, okay, fine. Bound actions and functions. So we've got this entity, got this beautiful sort of expression here. Entity, something, some definition. Then they've got this actions clause with a block there. In that block, you've got your actions and functions defined. Now, bear in mind, and maybe Daniel will have something to say to this as well, Daniel S. Regardless of whether the protocol you eventually choose to use to have this service served, regardless of whether that is an OData protocol or not, you might want to, for example, say use GraphQL, or you might want to use, the plain REST service with @protocol::REST. By the way, clue, that's going to be one of the services you define in the developer challenge this month. You still define your sort of RPC style functions and endpoints like this with the words functions and actions. Even though to my small brain, functions and actions, those two types of things are sort of OData terms, but you can think of them as a more general type thing. So Alex says, oh, by the way, meanwhile, is there a way to not have hard-coded string methods names to the handlers to avoid typos? To the handlers. Do you mean here? If you're meaning this total stock thing, you could certainly put that in a constant. Absolutely. I mean, the thing is that what you mean? Maybe that, I don't know whether that's what you mean, but if that is what you mean, I think, yeah, you certainly could. So let's do it. Let's say, yes, const total stock equals total stock. I feel quite trendy when I use the backticks as a string thing. Anyway, total stock, and then we'll here, let's do that. In fact, let's save that and go here. Yeah, it still works. I guess the thing is, if you were wanting or needing to implement multiple events, for example, if it was a read event for something you want to do a before and on and an after, then yeah, it makes sense that if this is repeated. But quite often, I would argue that you're only going to get that thing once. But perfectly possible. It's just a string at the end of the day, right? We'll leave it in there. We'll leave it like that, okay? If that's okay for you, Alex. So where were we? I don't know where we were. Oh, yes, there we go. Yeah, so we got that. Now. Function get stock returns integer. So this is sort of the pattern that we want to follow. And if we go down here, we see, in general, implement actions or functions like that. This dot on get stock of foo. That's the entity to which it refers, right? Okay, you're welcome, Alex. And then this weird thing here. Is anybody scratching their head over all those brackets. We have covered destructuring before, but we haven't covered a destructuring expression as involved. I don't want to say it's as complicated, but as involved as that. 8:55. Maybe we'll look at that now. We've got 5 minutes. DJ, stop talking about that. Stop doing things meta. So that's the sort of idea we want. So let's just paste that in as a reference and start typing it, right? So there. We want to do something like that. So this dot on touch list. What the hell? This dot on. What's it called? Stock value on books, right? So we have this thing here. So somewhere there, look, on before, after, adding event handlers. There, look, that's it. Let's add that as well, right? Method, so we know where we've gone because it's pretty important. Edit there, edit. Come on. Copy that, that, and let's add that thing there. So when you know what I'm referring to, save that, post, there, go back. Now, look, you always have the event. You always have the handler, but sometimes you have the entity and sometimes you don't. That's this question mark, right? In this sort of, declaration of this thing. In the unbound function definition, we just had the event and the handler. But this time, in here, this dot on, we want the event, we want the entity, and we want the handler, right? So we want the handler as well. So we want to say here, books, books. And then let's just put the simplest thing that could possibly work. Bang, bang, 42. Like we did last time. Okay? Let's have something at least that is... Now, in fact, yeah. So nobody said anything about this... where is it? This structure here. So maybe we'll do this next week. Let me know what you think that is doing. Right? Let me know, in fact, more importantly, let me know if you want us to unpick all those brackets together slowly, maybe in a Node.js REPL to understand what's going on. Because I think it's important, because this, I would say that in the best possible way, a lot of the examples here are beautifully succinct, beautifully compact. Okay? Almost like the opposite of Java. Did I say that out loud? Yes, I did. And it's absolutely wonderful, but you need to feel comfortable with it. Okay, so let's have a look at that maybe next week. But before we do, let's run to let's think about how we request stock value. If we do this, stock value, what we're going to get? Stock value is not an entity set, a singleton, an action import, or a function import. What are you doing, DJ? It's not any of those. Where's my head? Put it on the top. Right, let's do that again. Let's do this. In fact, let's do bookshop, books. If we do that first of all, we get all the books. And then if we say here, let's choose a book, right, with the GUID, because of course we've got GUIDs as keys. There. Let's do that and pipe that into JQ so we can see. So now we can do this, right? We can say stock value. That's what we want, right? 42. There's 42. So can you see the difference between the calls? We have that call to total stock there, and we have this call to stock value there. Look at the difference. We've got total stock as an unbound function on its own with no parameters, of course. And we've got stock value, no parameters, but it's in the context of a specific entity. Okay, so next week we'll look at how to get, basically, we need this value, don't we, to be able to find that book, to be able to work out what stock value is. Right, so we'll do that next week, as well as the destructuring of the destructuring. So have a great Friday, have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. And don't forget to start the Developer Challenge. Bye!